Welcome everyone to Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time.
None of that affects how you are going to change the world.
That's right.
No, it does not take one person to change the world, but it takes one person to believe in themselves.
Yes.
That they can make a difference.
I love
to
that.
Inspire others.
And that's why, for me, I try to make it my purpose now to try to help other people realize their self-worth.
Yeah.
Because it's so sad that so many of us, we get destroyed based off of what other people have to say.
Yeah.
I would say do it in your own way. Make sure you're doing it on your own accord and take a risk.
Go out there and live your life passionately. Believe in everything that you're doing and believe in the fact that you will accomplish every single goal. Welcome everyone to Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to soothe your soul, embrace the peace that you so rightly deserve. As we navigate this new season, it is so important that we prioritize our health, our mind, our body, and our spirit. Let's reconnect with our inner selves so that we can be better, we can be whole, and we can live a balanced and fulfilled life. I am your host, LeShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on right now. Oh my God, my friends, it's been a month of Tuesdays since I have seen you. I miss you so very much. It's been so much going on. And like I said, the new season is upon us. And it's important that we really take care of ourselves during this time. Every year, I share with you how we should self-care, how we should self-love, how we should spend some time making sure that we are healthy through the different seasons and the changes that we all will be experiencing. I said I haven't spoken to you, seen you in a month of Tuesdays, and it's really been about that long. And I've been so busy. I've been active in all that I'm doing in building Our Unity, but I've also been active being sick, unfortunately. So, since I haven't been here, I haven't shared with you guys exactly what's been going on in the past month. So real quick, before we dig deep into the show, which is going to be fabulous and very informative and helpful for us all, I'd like to share with you real quick what I've been up to before I ended up getting sick with the flu. So I don't know if you guys know, but I had shared with you at the end of October that I was going to be hosting a Voices of Unity event. This event was going to be in collaboration with the Harambe Dallas event that they hold every single year. It was their 50th year celebration, and it's all about community. It's bringing about, the local community together so that they can celebrate, so they can honor all of those in their community. This year, I decided to start the very first Voices of Unity, and I partnered with So Young Lisa Grado, as well as my friend Sir Sheffick. We were honored by the mayor of Hempstead, as well as the senator, Kevin Thomas, for this event, and it was spectacular. We held it here at Strong Island Studios. It was attended by so many thought leaders, community activists and advocates, and just people of diverse cultures who wanted to come together to understand one another, encourage each other, and also for us to build a bridge and better understanding how we can all collaborate, how we can respect each other's diversities and come together as one to share that with the youth as well as the world. We also were able to give out some amazing presidential volunteer awards to a lot of the community advocates and activists, as well as the thought leaders that were in attendance. It was really a beautiful event. I will be hosting it every year going forward. I don't know where it's going to be next year, but right now we are so excited to fill the room with so many people who are really wanting the same thing. for us to figure out a way how we as a world, as a society can come together, can understand our differences, how we can build on the information and education of our beautiful tapestry, which is our lives, and how we can come together to make sure that we're building a better and brighter world for our children. That's really what it was about that day. It was about the community coming together from all over. I mean, we have people from the Bronx, people from Westchester, people from upstate New York and Connecticut. People came down to this event here at Strong Island Studios so that we can share in one mission. And that is unity, that is peace, that is love. That is coming together as one to show that though we may be different in how we appear, we all are desiring and expecting the same things out of our lives. So it was a spectacular evening. I cannot wait for next year. I will share it with you guys again. We had a nice intimate event this year, but next year is going to be so much bigger. And again, as I mentioned, we collaborated with the Dallas Harambe event, which they have been celebrating for 50 years. And it was bringing about their community as well. And what they did was we interacted with one another. We had interviews with one another. They got to speak to the people we had here in attendance, and we got to actually be spectators to what they had going on in Dallas. So it was truly, truly awesome. And I hope next year you guys will be able to join us. Then took some time with my daughter to go down south to Virginia to visit my mom. So we took a road trip. Haven't seen my mom in a couple of months, so it was beautiful catching up with her. This time I took my daughter along, and we were able to just have a beautiful, beautiful visit with her. It is so important that we spend time with our loved ones, especially when they live far away. A phone call just doesn't always seem to do it. And spending time with my mother, catching up on what she has going on in her life, encouraging her and lifting her up in prayer and in conversation was exactly what we all needed in order for us to feel whole. It was about self-care at that moment as well, because I need my mommy sometimes. And it was so good to just be there with her and to smile and laugh with her and to reminisce with her. So if you guys got family members that don't live necessarily around the corner, up the block, or a mile away, please take some time to go visit them, love on them. My mother tries to tell us every time we speak to her over the phone that she's fine, that everything is good and she's doing well. But it's nothing like being in the presence of the people that you love, so that you can actually feel that energy, so that you can feel that peace and that goodness that they have in their lives. And that's exactly what my daughter and I were able to experience. So it was beautiful. And then came back to New York, and my beautiful friend, Mia Sotis, that I honestly met just about a month or so ago. I met her in Connecticut at the Sweet Mother Gala. She was being honored with one of the prestigious awards that they were giving out at this event. She's going to be a guest on the show actually next week, and she had an extra ticket to the Maverick City concert. Oh my God. It was amazing to be in the audience, seeing so many people from diverse communities and backgrounds and religion coming together to enjoy this beautiful Christian music that was being belted out at that arena. It was extravagant. My heart was filled. It was the exact spiritual upliftment that I needed in order for me to continue on my journey, especially after seeing my mom and after having that Voices of Unity event. I just needed to be filled with the Spirit of God. And that's exactly what I experienced that day. It was a room filled with believers, a room filled with people that just all wanted to come together to worship, to sing, to praise our Almighty God. And it was a delight. My heart left there so filled. My spirit was so uplifted. But more importantly, I feel like that was my moment and my time for me to reconnect with God as well. So I left that concert feeling the best that I thought that I could ever feel in quite a long time, especially after all that I've been doing in the last month and a half. But then the next couple of days, LeShawn started to get sick. And I ended up with the flu, and it knocked me on my behind. Ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you, please, please get the flu shot. I received a text message on my phone from my doctor telling me it's time for your flu shot. LeShawn has never taken a flu shot. And I think I've only experienced the flu once in my lifetime, and it was like 30 years ago. This experience that I just had was horrible. And I'm sure you can kind of still hear it in my voice. It's been almost 2 weeks. I don't quite feel myself, but I am fighting so hard to get back to feeling 100%. That's why this conversation today is so important. It's about self-care, self-love, soul care, everything that I think I missed out on doing for a couple of days. I had been going and rushing and trying to show up for everything, everyone, and everybody. And I realized that I needed to slow down a little bit. I needed to take some time to sort of heal myself from the inside out. That's what I've been doing for the past week and a half. It's been all about soup. It's been all about prayer. It's been all about just filling with myself with those things that are going to heal me, not just my body, but my mind and my spirit as well. So, during this season, every year, I try to have on a spectacular guest so we could talk about how it's so important for us to prioritize our health at this time, for us to fill our spirit with those things that bring us peace and joy. But more importantly, for us to reconnect with our inner selves, our spirit and our soul. And that's what we're going to be talking about today with amazing guest and friend of the Your Our Unity show, Miss Reverend Dr. Casey Jones. So the title of the show is Soothe Your Soul. And she's going to share with us some tips on how we can actually get that done at this time. So the Reverend Dr. Kimberly Clemens Jones, affectionately known as Reverend Dr. KC, is a dynamic soul care specialist dedicated to helping individuals transform their lives through spiritual alignment and holistic healing. With dual master degrees in counseling and divinity, a doctorate in ministry focused on prophetic activism and womanism, and certifications in emotional freedom techniques and Reiki, she empowers people to embrace their true selves and live with purpose. As the founder of the Restored Life Group and the Community Healing and Caring Center, Dr. KC has guided countless individuals toward restored living, fostering growth and resilience. Through her Wanted Project, she mentors youth of color, instilling values of worthiness and accountability, with its rich reach extending to juvenile facilities in Ghana. An accomplished author, preacher, and global speaker, Dr. KC is a catalyst for change, inspiring people worldwide to unlock their potential and lead lives rooted in authenticity and wholeness. So please help me welcome the beautiful Dr. Reverend KC Jones. How are you?
I am well, LeShawn. Thank you for having me on your show again. It's been a blessing.
Yes, no, thank you so much. Again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, it's that time, my friend. We all need to prioritize our health. We have the weather changing. We have just all kinds of holidays coming up. Yes, it is a busy, busy season, and it is so important that we all take care of ourselves. And who best to share that information with the Your Our Unity community than Dr. KC Jones. So thank you again so much for being here, my friend. I appreciate you. So, as I mentioned, I've been sick, girl. I have been sick, and I know that I'm a busy person. I know that I need to just get out there and just be a part of this great big world in every way possible. But I know that it has taken a toll on my health. So talk to me about, literally what it means right now, especially as the seasons are transitioning, that we prioritize our health. And tell me what tips you have for me staying healthy during this flu season.
Yeah. So it's all about boundaries. And, I used to tell people all the time, and it still happens, that every summer that I'd have vacation from a job or something, I would go to school. My school was boundary trainings. So I'd get all of my books together about boundaries, and I'd reflect on the many ways that I did not set my boundaries in certain situations. And when I did, gave myself a pat on the back for doing that as well, because we can often overdo it.
Yes.
Even if we're doing really, really good things, we can still overdo what our soul needs, right? So there's a story based in an African tradition. You might have heard it before because you've been to, talking. We talk all the time.
Yes.
But it's so important. It's about a Westerner, European man who goes on safari in Africa, and he has 2 African guides. And every morning they're up at 6, before the sun rises, and they finally finish a day after the sun sets. And day after day, the European man, he wants to see this, and he wants to see the elephants, and he wants to see this. So on the 4th or 5th day, he gets up, he's all dressed, ready to go before daybreak. And the African safari tour guides are just sitting on the rock.
Wow.
And he's like, what's going on? Let's get up. Let's go. We have to do. And they said, we have to let our souls catch up with our bodies. So all of what we are, our mind, body, spirit even, needs to sometimes settle in and settle down, because our bodies can keep going 24/7 around the clock.
Yes.
And that's how we forget about who we are as people, because we're out there, we're doing great work, but we're not keeping up with ourselves and our souls. And so sometimes we just have to slow down.
Yeah.
Just to slow down.
I agree. How do we do that though? There's so much to get done. And again, you master's, doctorate, there was a time that you were so busy as well. You're preaching, you're doing all of these things. And imagine what the average person is actually dealing with as well. How do we set those boundaries when we know there's tasks that we need to get done?
Yeah. So it's all about writing and journaling everything that we do, because when if you journal, you'll find out what's most important to you. You have to prioritize that. So sometimes you might not be able to make an event or do something even with the family that you really wanted to do because of work. But as long as you have it written down and you journaled it and you feel good about it. Right. So the guilt of not going somewhere, or the guilt of canceling something. On Monday, I wasn't feeling well, had something bad to eat Sunday night. And I'm working on a project with this company. And I said, oh my God, this is too important. Oh my God. And I was just building it. It was too important to miss. But finally, someone said soul care. And that's all you have to do is say that to me, because this is what I do.
Yes.
And so I emailed the woman and said, I'm feeling way under the weather. I wouldn't be productive in this meeting. And immediately she says, oh my gosh, take care of yourself. And it wasn't what I built up in my head.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to continue to talk to ourselves. I want to talk a little bit about a way that helps me when I know that I'm not connecting, right, in the way that I should be to myself. So if you can just imagine a garden, it's lush and vibrant, but over time it's neglected, right? Somebody's not keeping up with the weeds that are kind of weaving its way through. And so the weeds choke out the flowers, the soil dries up, and the once beautiful garden becomes barren, right? So just like our souls, if our souls are neglected, they can wither and become incapable of fostering that deeper spiritual connection that we all need.
I love that.
So soul care is the act of tending to our inner selves. It's about nurturing our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. Because when you think about it, our souls encompass mind, body, and spirit. So think about the many times that your mind has just been going in so many directions, right? You can't focus on one thing because you're trying to focus on too many things.
Right.
And that dries up.
Yes.
In your body, you're running. That dries up.
Yes.
And even the spirit within you that really causes you to connect with spirit, the big S, is cut off. And so we dry up.
Yes.
Regular gardens, they need to flourish. Our souls require constant attention. We got to prioritize it. We got to cultivate it. And if we don't do that, then we lose the divine. We lose the divine, the big S, the spirit. And so anytime I feel off center, out of balance, I remember the story of the garden. And I want to be that garden that has roses and tulips and just beautiful paradise, right? Like we think about, I don't want it to be overrun with weeds and soil that has rocks in it and just a terrible place to be. That is our bodies, our souls, when we don't spend time nurturing.
I love that. I love that because to me, that was an exact representation of what I have been feeling like the last couple of weeks, that I was just a barren garden, that I wasn't producing anything. I felt the darkness. I felt the weeds. I felt that the just with the lack of energy that I had and just the feeling that I was feeling, it wasn't producing the goodness and the greatness of myself. And I know that I probably did run myself into that spot, into that place. And it's unfortunate, but you're so right. We have to start looking at our lives as our spirit and our soul as a beautiful garden, and how you cultivate it and what you nourish it with is what you're going to get out of it. And clearly I wasn't doing a good job because I'm telling you, I felt every bit of a person who was depleted of all real good life, you know what I mean? And it's slowly coming back, but it took me to deal with that fall, that shortcoming, in order for me to realize it. And I'm so glad that you're here to speak about that.
Well, take it slowly, right? Don't rush back into it because your body and your mind, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score. And it really does keep the score. If your head is messed up and you have too many things on your mind, it's going to come out in your body. So this is your body's way of saying, LeShawn, slow down.
Yep.
Get back up slowly, right? Slowly. And just get back into the world slowly and just learn from what your illness has taught you.
Well, I will tell you, I think it is the guilt. And I'm glad that you said that. It's prioritizing those things that are really important. And what's interesting to me is also if you share with someone how you're actually feeling and what you're going through, they may be understanding of it, and we don't consider that at all. We just think we were invited, we were asked to attend, or we were asked to help, or whatever the case may be, and we feel we got to show up. And if we don't, the guilt sets in. So I love that you also made that point as well, that just share it with whoever, and they will totally understand in most instances.
You know, we have to realize that other people are going through the same thing that we're going through. But some of us are type A. We've talked about this before. It's like, if I promise, I gotta be there. And if I can't be there, I'm gonna feel guilty like all night long. Right? We have to get out of that. We do. Because people are feeling overwhelmed. Some people wish that they could say, I'm not feeling well. And they applaud you when you take care of yourself. I know I do. When someone says, you know what, I'm so tired and I just can't do what I was going to do with you, I applaud them, because I'm like, yeah, you're taking really great care of yourself. And that's what we need in the world. Right? Because the scripture says, love your neighbor as you love yourself in Matthew. How can you love your neighbor if you're not loving yourself?
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, my friend. Oh my God. And in addition to that, how are you really going to be preaching and teaching these things if you're not actually affording yourself the same information, you know?
Same grace.
Yes. You're absolutely right. Oh my God. Thank you for that.
We would forgive, you know, people of things way before we would forgive ourselves of the same thing. And we just got to remember what we want to look like in the end. We want to be vibrant and green and lush and flowery.
All the time.
We can't do that. Sunshine. And we cannot do that until we are good to ourselves.
No, I totally agree. Thank you so much for that. Well, we just came out of an election season. There was a lot of anxiety. People are going through a lot emotionally, mentally. Oh my God. Now it's over. No matter what and how the outcome was for you, it is now over. But people are still stressed out about it. What are your suggestions for sort of navigating ourselves out of that anxiety-stricken mindset that we just came out of for the past year and a half?
Wow. Has it been only a year and a half?
It's been like,
it feels like a lot. So there are, you know, going into the election, I said, you know what? Regardless of who won, a good 50% of the population is going to be torn up. And we were torn up. And just speaking as a Black woman who really works a lot with other Black women, it felt personal. And so we definitely need time to heal. Right. So I just got back from Ghana a few weeks ago. We're going again next year. And part of that is to help women connect with Mother Africa, so that when things happen like the election and you're torn down, right? And rightfully so, you have so many questions about the future. You can connect to something deep down that is yours. In Africa Ghana would be one of those places and one of those things to connect to. And remember our ancestors, those people who lived way before us and got through difficult situations, so we can like pull on their strength. Right. And so I really suggest therapy. Right. Speaking with someone, getting with groups of people. So I have the soul care retreats, and you went to one before. And that is such a good way to get around your tribe
Mm-hmm.
and to really think about what's important in life and how to go forward.
Right.
We sat in that soul care retreat, and many of us were healed by what other people said and gave us direction about how to go forward.
Right.
And so I think we should be. I just preached last Sunday or Sunday before last on about radical empathy.
Mm-hmm.
We need radical empathy
Yes.
when we do the work of justice, when we do the work of lifting our voices. We need to be empathetic to everybody,
Right.
right? Despite where you come from, what your skin color looks like, we need to put that in our hearts that we have to be radically empathetic, but we also need people to be radically empathetic to us as well.
Yes. Yes.
It's a give and take.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we can only do that, love our neighbors as ourselves. We can only do that as we get to know ourselves, love ourselves, and just wrap our arms around who we are individually.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, because I feel the same way as you do, that we took it personally, you know, what happened, and I think that also contributed to my state as well. You go into sort of a depression. You feel like you did everything that you were supposed to do, and God was on our side, and you know, just what we expected was not exactly what happened. So where do we go from here? So it's connecting to ourselves. It's building a community of people, and it is that radical empathy, because that's really what's needed, and that's from all sides right now, is that radical empathy. And
absolutely,
so I love that you said that. So in terms of the steps for our self-care and our soul care right now, yes, you had an amazing retreat, ladies and gentlemen. I was at the retreat. It was therapeutic. It was informative. It was I felt like every arm in that place wrapped around every single individual. It was so needed. You facilitated an amazing event that was also thought-provoking, and we will be sharing later with the audience exactly how they could become part of the next soul care retreat. But I need you to share with me exactly what that is, and how did you come up with it, and why do we need it in our lives?
So I came up with soul care. It's so funny because there's a collective mind in the universe, right? So anytime you come up with something, I put in soul care coaching years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago in Google. There was no mention of it. And as soon as I did that, right, all of a sudden, 2, 3 years later, soul care this, soul care that. And then it just, was dropped into my spirit that we need soul care. And then came the lengthy kind of, process of defining soul care, right? Because many religions think of the soul as something else, something different, right? Mixing the soul up with spirit. And so that took a long process to kind of get to what I thought God was telling me about the soul.
Right.
And then came soul care, retreats. I do soul care coaching, and the retreats are really, I host them here at my house until God sends a retreat center. And just 10 beautiful women getting together and really deep guiding them with workshops and things to reflect on together and individually, in order that we just start healing and start doing what our foremothers did. They gathered around the kitchen table and they solved the problems of the world. For their children, for their communities. And so that's what we did as an all-day retreat. And so soul care is like my theme. So the 4 steps to soul care are of getting soul care, right? Of taking care of ourselves is clarity of mind, emotional well-being, physical health, and spiritual practices. So clarity of mind, that's where gathering together, meditation, mindfulness, focusing on a scripture, like one scripture every week in order to clear your mind, and even like speaking with a therapist or your girls, right? Emotional well-being is practicing the self-compassion, gratitude, and other emotional health practices to, cultivate a more positive and receptive spiritual disposition. We all know about physical health, right? Exercise, rest, healthy eating to enhance your spiritual vitality. But we need to go back to some of the things that our mothers, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, and greats going back used to do. LeShawn, I know that you know of some concoctions that they put together. My grandmother, baking soda cured everything.
Yes. Yep.
You can drink it, you can put it on your face, you can do this, you can do that. And trust me, I have been doing it. I went back to it. Instead of taking that over-the-counter stuff for acid reflux, I'm back to the baking soda and water. Right? It cures all. And so we have to go back to the land, right? Go back, put our feet. I don't like gardening. But the concept for me is life-changing.
Right.
Go and stick your fingers in there and get in the dirt. Some people like going to the beach to get their feet in the sand, and we have to get back, right? That's part of the soul care. And the last part is the spiritual practices, such as prayer, meditation. Doesn't matter what religion you are, go to your scriptures, okay? And really study those ones that say, for I know the plans I have for you, and it's to prosper you. That's soul care kind of in a nice little package. Of course, that comes out differently when you're coaching someone or coaching a group of people.
Right.
But we have to have all of it, LeShawn. We think that if we go to a coach and, I need to work on my marriage. Well, you need to work on your marriage with a spiritual practice, with a physical health practice, with an emotional practice, right? You gotta do all of them. Clarity of mind. Hit those points, or else you're really not doing anything. You're doing half a job.
Yes, you're right. It's so many layers. Yep, you're absolutely right. It's so many layers to the issues that we face. And it's not just a one fix all type of situation. And like you mentioned, a life coach can obviously guide you through, the feelings of what you're going through, but you have to dig deep in uncovering how those feelings came about in the first place. So it takes a lot of work. I love that. What was most striking to you about the retreat? Because again, you had some very dynamic women in there. Like I literally sat there and was like, I can't believe these people got issues. Like I was so shocked. I'm so serious, because we all in our own right just seemed like everything in our lives were good because of the way we present. So what was so shocking and striking to you, and how do you see this being so much bigger and broader than even that moment that we had?
That's wonderful. Yourself, I love you because you push the people that you talk to go bigger. And I have not thought, well, I do. Actually, I have thought about that. So the thing that was striking to me was that the answers were in the room.
Yes.
The answers were in the room.
Yes.
10 women, one person going through something, and the answer was in the room. It's just like, I didn't have to do anything except facilitate it and, get people to open up. Yeah. The answers were in the room, and the answers have always been in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, even before COVID, where we had to be separated, we've been separated. We don't know our neighbors like we used to.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of scary. I know my neighbors, but pretty hands off, kind of like, not like, let me borrow a cup of sugar, right?
Right.
So things have changed drastically, and we need to get back to that. As far as expanding it, I will be doing a soul care retreat in Ghana.
Oh, yes.
Next October 15th through 24th, 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
I already have 3 people signed up, ready to go.
Oh, wow. I
I'm
think
a 10. I only want 10.
Okay, I might be the 4th because
Okay.
every October I'm getting sick. Maybe I need to be in Ghana so I don't get sick in October.
Can I tell you something? I've had a chronic cough for years. And you know, the doctor says chronic postnasal drip. That's all it is, but it's annoying. I left with a cough, went to Ghana for 10 days. I have not coughed since because I purposed in my mind that I was going to the motherland. I was getting healed.
Yep.
And I had to say to myself, I am not a cougher.
Yeah.
Because in my family we cough. And we say, oh, we're coughers. No more.
Yes, that's right. That's
no
right.
more. I'm getting my mind stayed on Jesus.
That's right.
I'm healed.
Yep.
I'm not a cougher.
Yep.
And so the soul care retreats that I'll have quarterly in person, plan to have soul care days, possibly like every other month online.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to culminate it in Africa, learning about African history, the perils that they went through in slavery, and how we can connect with that, but also grow and heal from us going there to experience this together.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And I think, you know, the conversations are going to be so spectacular.
Yes.
And the idea of people sharing, you know, from that country, what they go through, what self-care and soul care looks like to them, I think is going to be amazing, because every country goes through their own struggles, and every society has their own issues and perils. So share with me a little about when you said that the answers were in the room. We are now literally trying to just survive. You know what I mean? For a lot of us, we're just trying to survive. And the answers that were in the room, what answers should we be looking for in our healing journey? And what kind of questions do you think we really need to be asking ourselves?
That's good. So as far as the answers being in the room, I equate it to what God says. So when we go to God in prayer, let's say we're asking for something, right? You can't go to God thinking, okay, God's not going to do it, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Right.
You go with expectation.
Yep.
And there was a time in history where we would go to our elders in expectations, our griots, right? The leaders of the communities, with expectation that we were going to be healed, get the answer, and walk away, knowing our next steps.
Right.
That was the expectation. Now it's not the expectation. Right. We need to get back to our elders.
Yes.
Give me something that I can live life with. You know, ask any kid this day, and even people in Gen X, my age, in the 50s, that actually go to people and say, what did you do? How did you get through this?
Right.
Right. It takes you being humble. Admitting that you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
To do that. And nobody wants to do that. In our day and age. We want to be experts. You know, 30-year-olds are making millions of dollars on YouTube overnight. You think they're asking anybody about, but when they get married and when they do this and do that, they need people that they can go to and say, I don't know how to do this.
Right.
Help.
Right.
So I think, and quite frankly, with all this stuff, election and next 4 years, we're being humbled. We're gonna have to rely on each other
Yes.
and God
Yes.
to get through some very, interesting times that we're living in.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
What was your last question? I think I forgot that one.
What kind of questions should we, on our soul care journey, what kind of questions, serious questions, should we really be asking ourselves as we navigate that journey?
Who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I really?
Mm-hmm.
I had to go through this for a good year of who am I, because I equated who I am with the work that I did and the work that I do. And that's not only who I am.
Right.
So I think we all need to be asking that question over and over and over and over and over again, because we are, we evolve.
Yes.
Right. So I would say, who am I? From my therapist, what does the little girl inside you need right now?
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Right now.
Yeah.
Because it makes you, because you got to go like this. Okay. Little girl in me. Okay.
Yeah.
Put your hands on your chest. It's like, oh, and you get it. She needs. That's what you need right now.
Yeah.
And you're honoring the little person, girl or boy in you. At the same time, you're like, you're getting the connection between past and present.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, who am I? What does the little person in you need? Want right now? It immediately takes you out of your future, like what I'm going to do today, and it puts you back right here where you need to be.
Yeah.
And the last thing could be, what does God want me to do?
Yes. Yeah.
Once I know myself.
Yes. Yep. Once you get an understanding.
Once I'm authentic, once I know myself, then how does God want me to use that?
Yes. Where would that take you after you've asked yourself those questions? And I think those are really deep and important questions. What should we be expecting? Because it is about expectation. Mm-hmm. What is our expectations, or should our expectations then be afterwards? Because it can't be just answering those questions and leaving them there. Being honest with ourselves, yes. But now it's the action of what we do next with realizing the answers to those questions.
Yeah, I realized that over the last 2 years, been the primary caregiver over my dad, and I'm not physically taking care of him, but over his medical care and his aid, so forth and so on. Realized that, I lost my train of thought. Give me that again.
The action behind the expectation. Yes. Behind the answers to those questions.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but I lost my train of thought that quickly. So the expectation, I forgot. I think I was saying, I learned of myself. You know what? I don't even know. What should we expect ourselves?
Yes.
Expect to keep growing.
Okay.
Which is probably why I meant started thinking about my dad. Continue to ask yourself questions, right? It's not about getting an answer and sitting with it. It's not. It's about the continuing of asking of questions that will get you to know yourself better.
Yeah.
So for instance, you have an interaction with a person that wasn't so good today. Mm-hmm. What can I learn from that? Mm-hmm. Did that person trigger me? Mm-hmm. Was it something? Did the person remind me of someone and that's why I was triggered? It's always asking yourselves questions. I always say about, and I've heard it say about religion and spirituality. It's all about the questions you have, not the answers.
Yes.
Because people think they have the answer. Their God is the God, and and the way that they ritualize their Christianity or their Judaism is the only way. No, it's not.
Nope. You're absolutely
There,
right.
there are over 271 Christianities in the world. 271. You think
Yes.
you
Thank you. With their own traditions, their own mantras, their own. Yeah, no, I get it. Yes, I get it. I get
so
it.
it's about continuing to ask yourselves, where am I today? How am I coping today?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because that's the only way that we're going to continue to grow. So it's not about the answers, it's really about the questions that you open yourself up to.
Yeah. Well, speaking spiritually, knowing that, God created us to have and live and be the best that we can honestly be. That is his promise, is that we're supposed to live with that inner peace and joy and have faith and just believe in all things that he has in store for us. How do we stay grounded in that during the depression, the sadness, the uncertainties, the challenges? How do you suggest, even at this time with, anxiety that a lot of people are still stricken with, do we stay grounded spiritually?
Sit back, stay back from it, retreat. I can tell you since the election, I've watched the news one time.
Oh, wow.
And it was for a segment before my body started to say, no, I need self-care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So retreating is really a good way. I also use fasting. You don't have to fast totally from food, but even doing fruits and vegetables every day, not every day, but for a day, and that's going to make you feel like you're nurturing yourself and not being a part of the crazy world.
Yeah.
Right. Social media, step back from it if you're feeling any type of way. If you want to go on and post something positive, but don't get caught up in the negativity, because there's still a lot of work to be done in this world for everyone to feel equity and inclusion and, and you can't do it unless you're right. Right. So there's going to be a time where probably in the next month or so, or maybe not, that I want to watch the news and I want to be kept up, and because it's going to inform my work.
Right.
But for right now, I'm taking care of myself. Yeah. I'm deep breathing when I need to. I'm tapping. You all know I do EFT tapping. I'm tapping. Playing my music really helps me get into another place.
Right.
Not here. So it grooves me into another place where my shoulders aren't up to my ears like this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for all of us that are dealing with being caretakers for others, we have work, we have our children in school, we have just life, and the way that we have to navigate it, especially during this holiday season. Give us a few tips that you suggest we utilize immediately so that we don't fall into that barren garden that you were talking about earlier.
Again, I go back to the 4 points, right? Clarity of mind.
Okay.
Make sure your mind, you can focus on something beautiful instead of something negative. You can't hold fear and faith in the same thought.
Right.
So as many times as you think of something that is beautiful, you're not thinking about something that is negative.
Right. Right.
Okay. Emotional well-being is important, because during Thanksgiving and Christmas and you're with your family and you might be having issues with some of your family members, whatever it is, learn how to excuse yourself and go and lay down. If you're hosting, go and lay down in your bed for 10 minutes.
Yep. I love it.
Nobody's going to miss you.
Yep.
They might miss you, but so what? centering yourself. You're getting yourself together so that you can go on for the next hour or two.
Yeah.
And if you have to do it 2 or 3 times, do it.
Yes. Yeah.
Do it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Physical health. I would say before any big Christmas meal, Thanksgiving meal, I really start to take care of in what I eat, especially. I mean, exercising, I need to do better, and everybody does. But be careful what you eat, because you're going to have that one day where you're going to try a lot of different things. And you want your system to be working well. Also, apple cider vinegar. Okay. Just saying.
Okay.
It's good for you. And then the spiritual practices always. Every single morning, I tune into a prayer station, get a prayer, and then I might even turn on music or listen to a motivational speaker on YouTube. I have my YouTube app in my personal development app. So I click my personal development and whatever I can connect to just to start the day right. And then I need it by about 3:00. I need it again. And then by the time I go to bed, I need it again. That's how I stay sane.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. We're going to use all of those tips, my friend. We need that during the season in order for us to feel balanced and whole. So I thank you so much, Dr. Casey, for being here. I want to share real quick the soul care retreat that you have coming up. Can you tell us literally 30 seconds or less a little about that?
Yep, Soul Care Retreat. It will be in Bloomfield, Connecticut from 9 to 4 p.m. The first 10 women who sign up will be able to get gift bags, workshops, fun with the sisters, and yeah, we're going to solve the world's problems.
I love it. I love it. And then you also certify life coach certification classes.
Yes.
Talk about that for 20 seconds.
Yeah. If you want to become a basic, a transformational life coach, I'm not teaching soul care here, but I am teaching you the basics of how to become your own boss with coaching and to bless your community with your skills.
I love it.
Starts January 5th. There is a deal now. So if you're interested, reach out to me.
I love it. Thank you so much. We're going to put up your information for the Restored Life group. Please reach out to Reverend Dr. Casey Jones, the soul care specialist for all your soul care needs. She is amazing and spectacular. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Casey. I so appreciate you. Don't go anywhere because I want to get real quick to the Dare to Be You.
Okay.
And it is dare to soothe your soul and embrace the peace you deserve. Take a moment to step away from the noise, reconnect with your inner self, and nurture your spirit with love and intention. Your well-being is worth the care. And that's exactly what the beautiful Dr. Casey has shared with us today. It's about us taking a step back, us reconnecting, having clarity, asking ourselves those important questions: who we are, what our little girl wants and little boy wants, and the path forward. How can we move past whatever we're feeling that is holding us back from being our best selves? So I so appreciate you being here. I want you guys to please reach out to this fabulous, fabulous woman. And I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Your Our Unity. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. So let's go out there and be some love, give some love, and just share some love. We will see you next week. And in the meantime, say good night to our fabulous Dr. Casey Jones. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you again soon. Have a good night. I love you.
I love you. God bless.
God bless.